Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live here at the virtual clergy symposium that's going to be taking place shortly. We're here at Mount Hermon Ministries, the epicenter for community discussions these days, and they're doing an outstanding job. The topic tonight would be systemic justice, and policing in communities of color. This is July 1st, and we have here Pastor Gregory Ford of First Assembly Cornerstone. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
All right, let's get that mic up, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you did.
About 3 weeks ago, we were here having a great discussion with medical professions and the black church clergy regarding the pandemic. Now we're back with some more in-depth discussion on a lot of things that have jumped off since that time, social justice and the community and law enforcement, how they go about working together for a better society. When you first heard that this was going to be taking place, what went through your mind?
Well, first of all, I'm just very much encouraged by the pastors and leaders of this community coming together to try to bring some resolve, give some direction on how our community needs to approach all these different issues in reference to systemic injustice as well as the policing issue. I'm just honored to be a part of it, but I want to get some productive activity going forth so that we could see some great results that's going to really impact our future here.
Your church sits right smack dab in the heart of the African-American community. Very socially conscious church. You're constantly out there talking to people on the streets. You carry yourself as a man of the people. You can see you out shaking hands and evangelist type things in front of your church outdoors. You feel that it's really important that you connect with the people.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But, particularly in times like these, okay, with what's going on, it's important that we be on the front lines and that our people know that we are very much concerned about their well-being and their safety. And so by involving ourselves as well as getting in the midst of all these kind of conversations helps our people know, hey, that we care about them in many ways, yeah.
Right. I mentioned the whole fact of you being out on the streets a lot, shaking hands. What has been the theme that has been coming back lately from the community in terms of all of the things that we're seeing on television, and how is the community, particularly the African-American community, your congregation, feeling about our relationship here in Southwest Florida, particularly Lee County, with law enforcement?
Well, we want change. We want something to happen. We need to stop the violence. There has to be something said about the policies on how the police deal with the community, particularly the community of color, the George Floyd thing kind of just sparked it off. I heard Will Smith say something that was very powerful in one of my research. He said that, racism hasn't got worse. It just got filmed. And that means it went viral. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen it, a lot of things going on in our community down through the years. Our grandfathers, our grandparents all went through a lot of turbulence when it comes down to racism. But when everybody got a chance to see it, feel it, to experience it, they could see their sons and their daughters in it. And a lot of our community people, it was a bad experience for a lot of us. Parents who have sons and nephews, even their husbands, going out and forth, they were like worried about, hey, if they're coming back home, is this going to continue to, elevate itself? Or is this going to be something, are we going to deal with it? Are we going to say something? Are we going to create change, with this situation?
The fact that we all coming together tonight to have a discussion, what does that say about collaboration?
It says a lot. It says a lot, especially when you have officials, state representatives, you got the attorneys, you have the law enforcement. Everybody's here sitting at the table talking about, hey, what can we do to make things better? How can we build the trust back into the police department between the community, especially the African-American community, the people of color, with our law enforcement? Because right now, we don't know what to expect.
I know, as you said, racism when you were talking, and I want to kind of get into that to a certain degree, because we do see that some of the disconnect between law enforcement and the community. We see law enforcement of color as well who may be involved in something, and we also see people of color as well who may have created a situation that brought on an unnecessary situation. Now, I know people gonna blow me away on social media. But the Georgia case, the young man in Georgia who, tried to break away from law enforcement, I watched that whole situation there, and I thought that, man, just cooperate with law enforcement. You do have a place in your heart that says, hey, let's cooperate. Go.
I think everybody should try to resolve an issue, regardless how bad it may be or whatever may come. Not the end result has to be death. There has to be other ways to deal with it that brings a resolve that, the young man might have behaved in a way that was inappropriate for the police to deal with. But it doesn't mean that he has to die.
Right.
Okay? There's other ways to deal with that. And that doesn't mean that he has to suffer. His case has to be solved on the streets. And that's where we're trying to say, hey, let's go do due diligence. Let's go through the right protocol, and let's let everybody be treated fair.
What are you telling your children as it relates to how they interface with law enforcement?
Well, first, hey, when they put you over, you put your hands on the dash, you just roll out of it. You just be nice, okay? Don't go off and be talking about, why is he stopping me? Don't create an incident in the middle of an incident. So, we got to tell them to calm down. We want you to come home.
I know my mom taught me all of that, and when I first started trying to be all, go find some real criminals, it didn't work out too good. Like I didn't want to pay that ticket, so happened to me in grad school. I'll tell the story. I never talked about it in public, but it happened. Well, I had two incidents. Let me talk about my Fort Myers incident, because people can relate to that better. So I was on Evans Avenue one night coming from the American Legion back in the early 90s, and I came up on it was dark, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm coming from the club. I'm all disheveled, shirt out and everything, Joe Noah. And so I'm on Evans, and law enforcement pulls me over because I run a stop sign.
Okay.
There's no traffic at 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even look in the rearview mirror. The police car right behind me. I run the stop sign. And pulled me over. I ran the stop sign now. I'm guilty. And so all these flashlights in my face and everything. And it was a dark back, Evans late at night. And so blah, blah, blah. I got out. They let me out and did the whole, push me up on the car and spread my legs and handcuffed me and all of that stuff. And then all these cars started coming. All these police cars started coming on a dark back road. It's like coming out of nowhere. I guess it's slow. It was slow that night. Like about 10 or 15 of them came. And Officer Scheidler, he used to work at the Stars Complex as a community police at the early days of the Stars Complex. And, of course, I was pretty well known over there as a swim instructor. And he and I used to talk at the pool all the time. He'd see me teaching the kids to swim. And, of course, he knew me from television. Officer Scheidler. So when the police was kind of getting loud with me and everything, and I think I was pretty cooperative, then Officer Scheidler walked up and he goes, hey, y'all know who that is? And they go like, no. He said, that's Lee Pitts, the TV guy, the swimming guy, the blah, 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 the banker, the vice president over at the bank. Because he knew me from the Stars Complex. That's community policing. He knew me personally. Then the flashlights went down, blah, 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 and I was just told, don't run lights anymore. Now, don't run stop signs anymore. Here's the takeaway from all of that. I got treated with some kind of concession because I was a recognizable person. And when I was driving away from that, I realized that, what if I wasn't recognizable? What if I didn't have Officer Scheidler there from the Fort Myers Police Department? I think you remember Scheidler, right? Nice guy. Could things have gone differently, but I was cooperating. I just thought they was just a little bit aggressive with me in that particular case. It's my first time talking about it on television. Okay, now, having said all of that, what do you hope that people will take away from today's discussion, tonight's panel discussion?
That we're trying to level the playing field for all people, okay? In your situation, when you got pulled over, the first aggressive move was to just bring you down and bring a lot of attention to you. Probably scared you to have death, and then you haven't done anything. Well, you did do something wrong.
I ran a stop
They had a
sign.
right to stop you. But
Correct.
But these ain't the situations that we're mostly talking about or addressing. Why is the racial profiling going on? Why are they pulling guys over and families, wives, black, African American, people of color, for really just for no reason at all, just for the sake of just just checking them out. And do they check everyone else out like that? Why us? Why point the attention to us and draw the lights on us in order to to figure like, hey, all of us is evil. Something's wrong with us, or we're whatever. But it's a long situation. I mean, a long discussion.
Final question: what is your hope for the future? How do you, when all is said and done, and you hope that eventually society will get to what?
To where everybody's being treated the same. Okay, be fair. Okay, we're tired of being undervalued. Okay, first of all, and treated like we're not humans. Treat us like you treat everybody else, and let's all just walk on level playing field.
Okay. Well, looking forward to getting some of that out to the public when we get into our panel discussion, my friend.
Thank you, Lee.
All right, Pastor Ford. We'll be right back.